I'm pretty sure if they were moving into like a pristine new condominium or big ass house or something like that in the countryside, she'd be like, okay, Yo, what up, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving! Happy Thanksgiving! It's the Thanksgiving special. It's not really a special. It's not really a special, but episode, Thanksgiving episode. I do a quick impromptu series of thank yous for appreciation exercise, and just recap this year a bit. I get into an article, and our main theme is related to the Japanese countryside and what's going on there. An article, and I give a review of a Vice mini documentary that I stumbled upon that I found entertaining on several different levels, and we'll get into that. Not too long, not too short. Pretty, I think, solid episode. I think there will be something in it for everyone. So enjoy. Yo, what's going on? Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the podcast, Japan According to Akil. It's going down, another daytime episode because I was too sleepy to to record last night. I was doing some other stuff, eating a pomegranate. What else did I ate a pomegranate last night, which is pomegranate's my favorite fruit, by the way. My mom used to give it to me when I was a kid. If you don't know what a pomegranate is, kill yourself. Come on, man. You got to know what a pomegranate is. But no, pomegranate is like I got one over there, but I'm not going to go get it. But it's like a red kind of fruit, and inside has all these little like red mini seeds with like juice bursting around. I don't know, it's crunchy, it's tart. Like, I love tart stuff. So my mom, I remember one of my earliest memories in life is my mom feeding me pomegranate and it going everywhere, and I'm like picking up the little seeds off the table and eating them and crunching them. So I love pomegranate, and it's pomegranate season. So of course I went to Costco, they had pomegranate. I'm like, oh shit, it's pomegranate season, it's going down. And I just bought like a case of pomegranate. So I've been eating pomegranate literally every night for the past few nights. Pomegranate and sweet potato pie has been like half my fucking diet for like the past few days. But yeah, because I said Thanksgiving is coming up in America this week, but I celebrated Thanksgiving with my family this past weekend, just, a little bit early, just did a little small, simple dinner and stuff like that, just to celebrate, the season. So, which brings me to unexpected. I was thinking about this topic, I forgot about it, and I remembered it now, which brings me to my Thanksgiving thankfulness, I guess. I was thinking, this year especially has been pretty crazy as shit, for a lot of people. Yes, dog. Okay, my dog's coming. Yeah. All right, you want to come on my lap? Come on. Okay. I don't know if you can see him on camera, but he's trying to take a nap. But anyway, so my body's all stiff now because I'm trying to make my dog comfortable. But thankfulness, what I wanted to be thankful for this year, because this year has been crazy, especially living here in Japan. Now I'll just do it from my perspective here in Japan a little bit, and hopefully it might give you some perspective on things to think about. Not sure if this is going to come out, well, it probably is, on Thanksgiving, wherever you are. But one big thing I've been thankful for this year has been the time I've been able to spend with my family. Like last year, up until the pandemic really hit in spring, I really spent a lot of time ripping and running all around Tokyo, trying to get this cash. My work influx had been on like a really good increase for like the past few years, just a lot of my private lessons and contacts and stuff. But it kind of private teaching in Tokyo kind of goes up and down in waves. Like, I've felt those waves several times before. So I knew, like, okay, things are peaking, eventually something's going to happen, it'll kind of settle down. But so I was just, riding the wave, getting all the cash that I could, and do what I wanted to do what I needed to do with that. But yeah, now that, things, I'm just kind of settled into my main job now. I'm enjoying the fact that I'm able to, spend a lot of time with my family. I'm home, for the evenings most nights, except for like tonight. It's like the only night I really work late. But before this, I was out of the house pretty much every night. No, I wasn't able to tuck my son into bed like every night, except for like Sunday maybe, just because I forced myself to take a day off. Plus like trying to keep up with the podcast and trying to, like, about a year and a half ago, I was trying to figure out, with my course and with my online course and what I was trying to do with that. So I had my hands pretty full, and that was my priority. But I when everyone was freaking the fuck out in spring, like I was just chilling with my son, like taking them to the fucking, taking them on early morning scooter rides, and I'm jogging, like my knees are hurting me. Yeah, I'm playing with them. We're doing like mazes and writing practice and shit every day, like. I was really appreciative for that time, and for him to tell me times where he's telling me that he is. What's the fuck is this? Oh, thank you for get the fuck out of here. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. Him, the times he's telling me that he is happy I'm here, and he's upset when I had to work and things like that. You know, that is something is irreplaceable. Any parent knows, like, my son's 3, he's going on 4 pretty soon. You can't get that time back. Like, I remember, okay, my dog's had enough of me talking. He's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, that time is irreplaceable, and to have this window of time, we don't know what's gonna happen next year in the world, but where I'm actually able to invest that time in him is great. Also with the rest of my family too. So being able to just sit down and be in the fucking house, I'm 38 going on 39 years old. Being in the house is not a bad thing at all for me. I'm like, hey, now we live in the future. We got Netflix. I got a smartphone. I can do all the media shit I need to do, like, on a phone and a laptop. Like, it's just fucking butter. I'm just trying to figure it out. But that's something definitely I am thankful for. Yeah, just getting my shit together. The things I was preparing here, thinking about, like, oh yeah, for my Japanese YouTube content, I'm still trying to figure out exactly the direction I'm going in that. I just got another aha moment when I was setting up for this, like, oh, I need to be doing this. So I'm excited to really, be able to, if I do it correctly, I'll be able to pump out content for Japanese people on YouTube, a different YouTube channel, a lot easier, and that's a lot more helpful for them, so I'm gonna give that a go, see how it goes. Like, so I'm thankful for that, just having a direction in my life, even though it's like wandering and going, where it's going. I'm still trying to feel my way through the process of it, but I know where I'm going. That's something to be thankful for. My fucking health, I think that should be the number one thing we should all be happy for and thankful for. Like, I'm fucking healthy, I'm happy, I mean, the air's dry, I got a little bit of mucus in my sinuses. I wake up, gotta like, get something out of there, but every morning. But besides that, like, I'm good, and that's something to really be thankful for. My dog is here, to be able to just do what I love. Of course, I gotta say thankful to you all. Like, yeah, I that's something I can definitely say this year. I don't know what it is, YouTube's algorithm. I think I started YouTube this year. Yeah, I think I did start YouTube this year on the podcast, and so just open to a wider audience, get some triple digit numbers on the views. That was like, I'm blowing up, thankful for you guys for watching that. We went through a couple of controversies this year. I opened up about a lot of shit on here, on the podcast audio and on YouTube. And I feel good about that. I feel like I got like an extended family, several new people like contacting me regularly, communicating with you guys, like a community, quote unquote. I'm still getting my shit together with this, in my everyday life, but I really appreciate being able to. I should have eaten some sweet potato pie while I was doing this. I should have some. I feel like I should have some Thanksgiving props while I'm doing this. But anyway, this is impromptu. But you know, you listeners and watchers, viewers from the past, from the beginning, from last year, from this year, I really appreciate all you guys, and I really hope I can continue to um, put out, the type of I hope quality content that I've been putting out up to this point, and I think I feel it's getting better. So at least getting more organized, kind of, than the crazy shit I was doing before. But I'm really looking forward to doing that, and appreciate you guys for sticking with me through this crazy ass wild ride. And yeah, just thankful for living in Japan. I'd say living in Tokyo, the Tokyo area. Let me say that. It is a really good place to be, especially in the world now. I'm not trying to shit on wherever you at, but just you do miss out on several things living here. Um, I'm like I said, I'm on an island. Sometimes you feel a bit cut off from the rest of the mainstream world. You don't get as much of the fun stuff, that you guys kind of get. But in situations like this, like I said, where I'm totally cool being in the house, I'm totally cool being with my family, just going to work and coming home every day. That's totally fine with me. And in these type of situations, like yes, it's good. It's a peaceful existence. I have a relatively peaceful existence, and um, whether we want peace in our life, whether we want excitement in our life, adventure in our life, um, riches, whatever we want, I think we're all looking for our form of happiness. And that form of happiness changes throughout time, throughout times in your life. It has changed for me, now, and I've been definitely finding over the past few years, the past year or so, this year especially, that being settled in my family life and getting that to the space that I want it to be, is a really important priority for me as a man approaching 40 years old with a child. So yeah, that's really important. I mean, the only thing I do miss is being able to, I'm missing the opportunity to sit down face to face with my parents, my relatives, living in America, living in Washington, D.C. That's the only minus I can say for this year for me, that I wasn't able to make a trip with take my son, especially because he's getting older now. He's able to communicate. He's aware of a lot of things in the world. That he's not able to speak face to face with my parents and my siblings and my cousins and extended family, and really connect with them on that level. That's the only drawback, but again, it can't be helped. He's in a good space, I'm in a good space, and the rest of my family's in a good space. Everyone's relatively healthy. Everyone that, to my knowledge, is relatively happy. So can't complain too much. So wherever you are, wherever you're at, I would just recommend you take the time out this year, this holiday, this Thanksgiving, especially because a lot of our listeners are in America, and really think, like, what the fuck are you happy for? Like, like there's so much stuff to complain about. Oh, we can't do this and oh, we can't do that. But it's going to be there. It's always going to be there. Like, but, today, like, I will quote I will quote the great Kung Fu Panda, and I'll end this section. The past is gone. The future isn't here yet, but we live in the present. But now is a gift, and that's why it's called the present. I totally slaughtered that, but it is true. The past is gone. The future's not here yet, but now is a gift, and that is why we call it the present. And being in present time is a skill. It's something to be that I work on. I try to work on as well, especially with all the distractions that we have. But just being aware of what of yourself in this moment of time, and being grateful for it. Wherever place you are, you're probably not where you ideally want to be, but I think I'm sure if you think about it, you have a lot to be thankful for. And so this Thanksgiving, I'd say much more than, any more than I can probably remember. in recent memory, yeah, I think it's a good time for everyone to pause and say what you're thankful for. So do that if you want to. Okay. All right. So where else are we going with this episode? Yeah. Yeah. I got something for you guys. I was just scrolling through my timeline, or it popped up last night somewhere on my phone somewhere. But Japanese language test. I don't know what's gonna happen with the JLPT all over the world this year. I'm not sure if it's canceled or what. But for people who are just listening to us, maybe in three-ish level, about N3 Japanese level. I just stumbled upon a YouTube link. Check it out. It's 2 hours of only Japanese conversation, of daily good Japanese conversation. I'm sorry. 2 hours of daily Japanese conversation. It's really good listening practice. I was kind of jealous. Like shit, I was like, fuck, I wish I had this when I was studying for the Japanese language test. It's, not like, hey, my Japanese, well, okay, my Japanese is pretty all right, especially my listening is pretty good. So this is a little bit below my level, but I would say if you are studying Japanese, and you can know your way around stuff, just give this a listen. These conversations are, I would say, the borderline for fluency in Japanese, right? Like if you can understand these conversations, and some of them have questions, some of them are just a regular conversation, I would say your Japanese listening would be good enough for you to survive in Japan. It's about N3 level of Japanese. To the best of my recollection, dealing with stuff in the restaurant, everyday conversation with Japanese people. So if you're studying, and you want to come here, this will be, I would say, a good gauge of what your shit is. If you're just like, I don't know what the fuck these motherfuckers are talking about, then you need to step your game up. If you got everything, completely well, you're good. But when, like what, 10, 12, 14 years ago, 15 years ago, when I was studying Japanese, when I first started studying Japanese, I wish I had this type of resources and information just so I could, especially listening. Again, I was on Chibi Maruko-chan. I was on kids shows in the news in the beginning, but these I think are really good and representative and natural conversations. I think it's sponsored by Japan Pod 101 or Japanese Pod 101. I used to listen to that shit back in the day too. If you don't know what Japanese Pod 101 is, Google it. That's the answer. Just Google it. But it's a podcast that helps you study Japanese. I probably haven't listened to that in over 10 years, but I used to listen to it quite a bit. And it was quite helpful for me. A lot of it is in English, if I remember, but it is quite useful. So, fuck, all right, fine, I'll put something in there. I'll help you find it. Japan Pod 101. Japan Pod 101. Okay, I'll put a link in the description for you guys about that. So, okay, yeah, I know, doggy. I know. My dog is trying so hard to take a nap. Don't worry, we're gonna take a nap after I finish doing this. Okay, after I do this, I gotta take a quick nap and get ready for work. Sorry, you might hear my nose is a little bit stopped up. It's because of just the weather. It gets really, really dry, this time of year. Even though it's raining now, but it hasn't rained like at all this month. But so yeah. The weather's just been fucking with my sinuses a bit. Okay, but anyway, the main thing I want to get to the main topic. How much time are we? We're like about 20 minutes deep. Yeah, I want to get to the main topic of the podcast and then get the fuck out of here because I at least like to edit this and get it rendering before I leave for work. So we'll see what happens. Okay. All right. Rod, you sent me a really good article, which piggybacks on something that I saw randomly on the internet the other day. And it's an article about rural Japan and some efforts to revive rural Japan. I was, I want to be careful because I was reading that article, and even in the article, there's I think the Japan bento thing. Rod, you know what I'm talking about, but it's like Japan bento or something bento. project that these people are doing to try and raise awareness for some small town. And pretty much it's just, the article is just about the effort of foreign people to collaborate with people in dying Japanese towns to, you know, as a path to the future what's the word? The word just slipped my mind. As a path to future sustainability for the town. I was reading the article and I was watching the video I'm going to talk about next, and I'm trying so hard not to be a hater. I'm trying so hard not to be a hater. Like, because watching it, it made me like, I don't want to be skeptical, but I am highly skeptical of those types of projects and articles. There is feel good type shit. I'm gonna just keep it real with you. I'm keeping it 100 with you, okay? And this is just my opinion, but you know, those articles and those projects and things like that, that's some feel good shit, right? It sounds good. Yay, we've got young people, foreign people coming on into this countryside town, and they're working with the people to preserve the culture, to raise awareness of this, to integrate all this shit. The people are loving it. You know, that sounds good. It sounds really good. And I hope it happens. I really hope it happens. I'm just highly, highly skeptical of it, and I'll believe it when I fucking see it. And what I mean, you might be like, "Hey, Akil, what are you talking about? They're doing the projects now." And please remember, like, if you're a longtime listener of this podcast, like, you know, I talk very much sometimes about the concept of being a guest in Japan, right? And understanding when you have guest status and when you are actually entrenched in a group. And those are two very different feelings, very different situations, very different statuses. For me, on the outside looking in, on a guest level, they're all about it. Hey, yay, let's do it. Let's work together. Let's collaborate. Let's share resources. You know, you show me mine. You show me yours, I'll show you mine. Kind of shit. But I think that's where it stops, right? And a lot of times in Japan as well, like, you know, remember, Japan is not as much in the West, is not as Japan is not as results oriented as the West. The process is much more important than the result. So for me, those are the two important factors when you're thinking about those type of, you know, countryside saving projects where foreign people with big ideas come swooping in and work with older Japanese people. On the surface, yeah, that's great. And it feels good to work together to solve the problem, you know, to try to do something, you know, and all that. But beyond that and beyond, you know, the superficial level of friendliness and cooperation, deep entrenched change, I'm holding off judgment on that, on the effectiveness of that. It's great to put in the effort, and Japanese people love to put in effort. Japanese people love, you know, and Japanese people love to put in effort, especially when it comes to a guest, you know. But when it actually comes to fundamental change in the way of living and fundamental change in opening up different areas and things like that, that's a whole different topic, right? And so that's kind of what I see in articles like this. You know, even clicking on, I think, the Japan Bento thing. Yeah, it's great. They got the project. I checked their YouTube page. I got like 30 something followers. I can't knock them. They got like 17 something subscribers. They put out like 3 videos in like the past 6 months or something like that. And what, you know, the project, long ass project video, I skimmed through it for like about a couple of minutes. It's got like 200 views or something like that. You know, I mean, that, again, the fact, hey, we're on YouTube, we're doing this blah, blah, blah project and putting it on YouTube, it sounds good. But is it a real, you know, grassroots, 100% effort to raise awareness, to put the name of the town on the map the way it needs to be done to get the type of impact that needs to happen to really, affect change in the community. I don't see it. It sounds good that they're working together, and it's good that they're working together, and it's good that they're trying to do something, but, are they really trying, are they, rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic? Or are they really, rolling up their sleeves and doing what gut check time, doing what needs to be done? And generally speaking, Japan doesn't really do that. Japan doesn't really get into gut check time until it's like the ship's going down, red alert, mayday, mayday type shit. Like that's when people start freaking out and panicking and looking to the government to do something. Until then, people, I can't really see. So that's kind of that article, me looking into that article, that reading between the lines a little bit, that's how I see things. Again, I was hating on myself. I was doing it. I was like, Akil, stop being a hater. I click on something, I think about it, I'm like, I don't know. but I felt like a hater. You can call me a hater if you want. I'm trying not to, but that's kind of what it feels like to me. A bunch of feel good hippie shit. Like that's that's exactly what I said when I was reading it. Like, I'm sorry. I'm an asshole. I feel so bad. Okay. Yes, Doug, I know. Even my dog's coming over like, God damn it. I'm sorry. I'm almost finished, dog. Okay. And then related to that is a Vice article. A Vice mini doc. And this one, let me get the title right. Let me click on this so I can get the title right. It's called, what's it called? Japan's country towns were dying. Then COVID happened and everything changed, right? Everything changed is what I added, being an asshole. being a condescending asshole. That's just me. But no, again, like this kind of ties in. That's what I told you. This really ties into because I saw this video and no, after you sent me the article, the video popped up in my YouTube timeline, and then I was like, I ain't watching that shit. And then you sent me that article. I was like, okay, that does kind of tie. I was thinking about something related to that idea, but once you sent me that article, Rod, I was like, okay, let me actually watch it. And they tied in perfectly. So I was like, okay. But basically, like me watching. I'm sorry. This Vice mini doc was fucking hilarious to me, right? Because again, I'm gonna put my hater hat on. I'm not wearing a hat, but I'm putting on my hater hat. When I watched this, it was hilarious and kind of not hilarious, cringeworthy, right? For a few different reasons. And this kind of goes back to, I know I keep, harping on it, but dating in Japan and relationships in Japan, right? Now, I'm not in a place to judge the relationships between, there's two couples in this, featured in this doc. And I'm not in a place to judge, because every marriage is different. But basically, there was two couples. One couple where the husband and wife, they left Tokyo, I don't know, a while ago, I forgot exactly when, and had been living in the countryside for some time. And the second one was a couple where the husband and wife were considering leaving and moving into that same community. Now, which one of these motherfuckers do I start with? Okay. Okay, I'll start with the main dude. He comes on later, right? The second, but I'll start with this guy because he gives more context to the first guy. No, I'll go in the order that it's talked about. Okay. Watching the first guy, they introduced the first guy who's like, yeah, I mean, he's an English teacher. He does what I do. He's an English teacher in the Tokyo area. He's got a family. He's got, I think, one kid, a daughter, and his Japanese wife, and they live in Yokohama, which is the area that I live in, in the suburbs of Tokyo, and maybe probably a little bit further away, deeper into Yokohama than me, just from the looks of their neighborhood. But Yokohama's really big, and dude, I think he's British, but he, for me, is typical of the guys that. Should I say this? Should I say this? Fuck it. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Okay. He is typical of the guys, to me, that aren't built for this country, right? Like, he's just not built for Japan. And you can kind of see it and hear it. Like, it was cringe. That was cringeworthy for me to watch. He was broken. He's been broken by this country. Like, that's kind of what happens. I've seen it with several people. Like, that's kind of, if you listen to how he talks about his everyday life here in the Tokyo area, he hates his job. He hates what he's doing. He hates his commute. He hates his life, but he's got a family. He's got a daughter, and so he's just, plugging away, doing what he needs to do, working in the fucking English study coal mines, miserable as fuck. That's what it seems like to me, right? And he's looking for an out. He's looking for an escape, and he doesn't know how to get it. And so getting the fuck out and moving in the countryside is kind of what he feels like what he can do to plug away and keep going on in this miserable life. It's kind of what it sounds like to me, right? Like, fuck it. I'll commute 2 hours if I have to. Okay. But I can come home to the fresh air, the countryside, the peace, to get away from all these Japanese people and the fucking terrible traffic. That's kind of what I'm hearing and sensing with him. And if you just listen to how he talks about commuting, yeah, he's like a freaking tired ass salary man. Like, and I've seen a lot of people who get like that the longer that they're here. Again, this country can't break you if you're not strong enough. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's not for the faint of heart at all, because if you think about it, you're socially isolated. You're away from, what you know. Yeah, it's a completely different world, but again, it gets harder the longer you're here. So he's probably been here. I forgot how long he's been here, but his daughter seems like, she's like elementary school age. So probably around 10 years at least. And it's wearing them down. It's just wearing them the fuck down. But, from the jump, he strikes me as a person who doesn't have a lot of intestinal fortitude from the jump. I'm not trying to shit on you, dude. I'm sorry. I feel like an asshole for saying this, but I'm just keeping it real. This is my first impression of this guy. It's like, you don't strike me as, in good times. He strikes me as like a feel good times type of guy. Like, when times are good, he's up. When times are bad, he's not like a going gets tough, the tough gets going type of guy at all. Right. And so he strikes me like he wants to hang out at the pub. He wants to, go on vacation. He wants to take it easy. He wants to watch, with football or soccer on his day off. Like, that's kind of, he wants a comfortable life is kind of what I'm sensing from him, but not to shit on the guy. Like, hey, that's who you are. Do your thing. What gets interesting is when, the idea of moving to the countryside, how he feels like it can resurrect his withering existence, and and his wife. I was waiting for his wife to talk, because if you really watch this documentary, it's told from the perspective of foreign people, right? It's told from their perspective. You don't really hear the Japanese women talking too much in this documentary. That's something I really want you to think about and look into as you watch it, right? You're hearing the foreign guys talking, and they're talking about how great this shit is, and they're talking about the potential of the community, and they're talking about all this shit. The Japanese women, especially the first guy, his wife, I was waiting to see her, because you don't see her for like the first, like you see her a little bit, but you don't hear her talk for like a while. And when she did talk, I was like, uh-oh. The first thing I was like, uh-oh, there it is. There, she's just trying not to say nothing. She's holding it in. Like, that's what it is. She's holding it in. She's holding a lot in, for the sake of her family. And she don't want to go. She does not want to go there. And you can see when they go there and they go to the place and go check it out, like she is not pleased at all, because that place that they live is, in terms of standards, she seems like his wife, the first guy, his wife seems like a pretty average, typical conservative Japanese woman. That place is I'm not calling the place a dump, but I'm saying in that frame of view, it's a dump, is what I'm saying, right? You know, if you get what I'm saying, like a place to be that old in the countryside. Yeah, it has space, but a lot of kind of old junk and old TVs and shit. I saw that, but I was like, oh, it's going down. I was like, oh shit. Like her going from like a mansion, you know, I mean, even if it's not like a super great place in Yokohama to the countryside. Maybe it is in Yokohama, but whatever. It's in the fucking countryside. It's in the boonies. You know, an old ass place. Like that's a big leap. Like, you know, that's a big step forward. Not a big step. You know. And you also have to think, one thing you don't think about, which I think both of the husbands in here are not so in tune with the Japanese way of thinking, and especially the second guy. I'll give my reasons why. Like for foreign people, it's a lot easier for foreign people to take the leap into a new community and just be like, hey, I'm here, what's up? Hey, everyone's so friendly. Hey, you know, it's a lot easier for foreign people to do that than Japanese people to do that. To move to an area where you have no friends and you have, you know, from an area where you're established is really, really tough for Japanese people. And the older you get, the tougher it really gets. And that's why a lot of people, even in, you know, the areas like in Fukushima and things like that, they kind of refuse to leave those areas because they're so entrenched in the community. They have ties there, and it's a lot harder to move to an area where you don't know anyone, especially the older you are, right? So you can see, like, beyond the you know, if they were moving into like I'm pretty sure if they were moving into like a pristine new condominium or a big ass house or something like that in the countryside, she'd be like, okay, you know. But to move into like a 50-year-old dusty ass basement, like, you can see her face. I was like, oh no. I mean, I'm not laughing at her situation, but I was like cringing, half cringing, like, oh shit. I kind of half want, I kind of half wanted to watch that documentary with my wife, but I already know what she would say. She'd be like, what the fuck? She'd be like, hell no. but but you know, his wife is not the type of person, especially in front of the cameras, when you have a bunch of people like, yeah, it's great, isn't it? They're not going to jump in and object. When they sit down and start talking about it, you can kind of hear her, you know, anxieties come out. And this is where I transition to the second guy. I think the second guy isn't really in tune with the Japanese way of thinking either, because if you listen, he's trying to convince her, you know, why it could be potentially good. Japanese people don't do potentially very well. Okay, potentially is probably is not a good word to use around Japanese people when you're talking about standard of living at all. Like, nah, this doesn't work well. But the second guy, he's like a dreamer kind of guy. And Japanese people don't give a fuck about your dreams, man. I mean, let me tell you, Japanese people do not give a fuck about your dreams. Especially your wife does not give a fuck about your dreams. Like, and even though his wife is very supportive and things like that, on the surface it seemed like that. For me, I got the feeling, because if you really watch the documentary, it's really about that dude. You know, the farmer dude, you know, and it sounds like he's living the dream and he's got the farm and they're doing shit and da-da-da. And like, again, I'm not hating on the dude at all, but just his personality, he seems very forceful and pushy, you know, not in like an aggressive way, but if you listen to how he talks, it wasn't really apparent in the beginning of the documentary to me, but after I heard his wife talk, you know, if you listen to his wife talk, then it was like, oh, okay. It feels to me like the second guy, the main guy, you know, who already lives in the countryside, it sounds like he decided to move there. He decided to get the fuck out of Tokyo, and he's good in their relationship. He has the more dominant personality. Of course, his wife can speak English, and of course, she's an open-minded person. But he's, it seems like he's much more better at selling dreams to people, and not in a negative way, but whatever their relationship, Ronnie Romance and her and things like that, it seems like he sold her a dream, and of living in the countryside, and talked her into it, and she kind of like took on some of his ideas, if you will, because if you listen to her talk when they're at the table, she talks about money, and she talks about some of the inconveniences. Then I hear some of her apprehensions and doubts starting to come out, but she's been doing it so long, she's kind of just, this is the road I'm on. I'm just going, my family's here, I'm just doing it. Not in a negative way. She's just kind of like, it is what it is. Kind of what it feels like to me. And Japanese women especially are really strong. Like, that type of woman is really strong at that type of way. It might not be worked out the way she thought it would or the way she wanted it to, especially when I hear, the word money concerns come up. That's a big buzzword for me. But, she's like kind of like a ride or die type woman, so she's in it. They got 2 kids, so she's with it and she's doing it. The second guy, he's just like, we're living the dream out here. And, we can do this, and we can build this community. We can put it here and put more people here. And then if we got 1 family, then 2 families, then 3 families. Next thing you know, we got a community, and it's great. You can hear him, like I said, selling the dream to the first British guy. And he's loving it. He's like, eating that shit all up like like turkey and stuff it on mash, like on fucking Thanksgiving. He's like, thank you, save me, And so, for me, it seems like both of those guys and both of those women are really, really interesting test cases for relationships in Japan as well, and like I said, the main guy, his wife is kind of in it already. The first guy, I can see, I don't know what's going to happen with them. I can imagine he's like, drinking the Kool-Aid from the main guy, telling his wife, let's do it. And then either just before or just after, she's like, hold up. More than likely her personality after they move there, she would be like, hold up, and really express her dissatisfaction. That's not a word. The fact that she's dissatisfied with their situation is kind of what I see coming. And that's why it kind of makes me cringe. Because she's thinking about her school, she's thinking about her daughter and things like that, their lifestyle, and the other guy's like, we can make it work. Never tell a Japanese person we can make it work. Never do that if you're in a relationship. Never say that, please. It makes you, like, I'm just keeping it a buck with you. It makes you sound, like, in their eyes, makes you sound kind of crazy. It makes you sound kind of delusional. That's what it makes you sound like. A dream makes you sound delusional. It needs to be guaranteed steps to get there. It needs to be like, we're moving to the countryside. I put down this down payment on a house that they're building. You can make the specifications for you. It'll be fucking awesome. We'll grow fucking oranges and sell them. Like, don't worry about anything. It'll be kind of rough, but we'll live comfortably. I got plenty of money saved up. That's kind of what she wants to hear, and then she might be with it. But, it's an interesting documentary on a lot of different, it's not that long, but it's on a lot of different levels for me. And I was, half entertained, half cringing watching it, the whole time. Again, I'm not trying to be a hater. It's just my wild speculation about what's going on. But what I see, reading between the tea leaves there, it sounds really good on camera. It looks really good on camera because for a couple of different reasons, it's told from a foreign perspective. Mainly the foreign guys are talking. And 2, you don't really hear the wives giving. I would have preferred them to be interviewed. I was hoping the wives would also be interviewed in Japanese privately, even when the wife was talking, she was talking at the table with her husband. And if you can see, he's dominating the conversation. Really, he's guiding the conversation. So that's kind of the shit. Not the shit, but like it's the shit that can be misleading when you get documentaries like this based by foreign people living in Japan. I think to give a more accurate picture, which would be helpful for you, you need to get the balance of those kind of things. So, but definitely check it out one way or another. It's really interesting. Again, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but I got the feeling I'm right. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's almost my nap time, so let me get the fuck out of here. All right. Well, happy Thanksgiving to you and everyone you're with. Be safe, be happy, and I'll holler at you next time. Peace.